So many people have been messaging me about this Netflix documentary, child. We're going to talk about it. Let's see here. Lunar Galaxy says Beyonce cuss better than him. Thank you so much for the $49.99. I appreciate you. Um, Queen Sunshine gifted 5 memberships. So if you want to be a member and watch my deep dives, she has 5 memberships that she gifted. So y'all go ahead and grab the memberships. My latest deep dive that I did about 2 weeks ago was about African spirituality and the Orishas. So if you're interested in catching that, definitely grab one of the free memberships. So thank you so much for gifting people that, Nana Nia. Appreciate you. Banji Baby Sim 499 says Tim Pool's beanie probably smells like sweat and sour chicken. Ooh, not sour chicken. Y'all are mad. Oh my gosh. I am Kelly Smith said a lot of these influencers need to read the room. Yeah, a lot of them do. Um, Mad Mo sent ten. Wait, Mado. Excuse me. Sent $10. Says Lovelyti. Did you watch the Diddy documentary? All right. So let's get on that. Let's get on the documentary. So let me say this. At first, I was not going to watch it because I felt like I put so much time into my deep dive. I don't even feel like. And then I was at the courthouse. I'm like DD'd out, right? But my homeboy hit me up and was like, TT, you need to watch the Netflix documentary. There's some new things in there. I don't think it compares to yours, but just watch it, just check it out. And I thought it was interesting for the most part. There was I guess what kind of had me shook when I first started watching it. I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Is 50 Cent under the bed? How is he getting all this footage of Diddy? But then we found out later on the reason why that footage of Diddy got out is because, again, Diddy being the narcissist that he is, he wanted to do, remember my deep dive for y'all who were babies or weren't around, Little Kim did a thing with BET back in the day called Countdown to Lockdown. Because Little Kim did time because out of everybody in her crew, she was one of the ones who lied on the stand to protect her homeboy when that big ass fight broke out between Little Kim and Foxy Brown's entourages. Put a teacup if you guys remember me talking about that in the deep dive. Remember that whole Little Kim and Foxy Brown thing, I broke that down in my deep dive, was because of Diddy. Diddy instigated a lot of that beef between Little Kim and Foxy Brown, and I brought the receipts. Okay? He was playing both sides of the fence until it turned into a little street war. So he tried to pull a Little Kim. That is why they had all that footage. He was doing his own countdown to lockdown, but his thing is he thought he was going to get off. He didn't think he was going to get locked up. Lil' Kim knew she was going to get locked up. So what happens is that Diddy likes to have people film him, right? But he don't like to pay. And as a videographer, I've been in that situation. It's a lot to video somebody. You're videoing them, you're recording their day-to-day, then you're going home editing. And so now you send them the bill and all of a sudden, me no English. They don't know English. They don't understand. Why is the bill so high? He's a cheap ass bitch. Let's keep it real. He expects people to do stuff for him for free just because you're in the presence of Diddy. Sir, objection. The way my bills work, my landlord don't give a fuck about me being in your presence. My car note don't give a damn about me being in your presence. Daycare, gas, they don't give a damn that I was in Diddy's presence, bitch. They need a check. So what he tried to do was play the person who was filming him. He decided he wasn't going to pay because the total was like $160,000. And mind you, this person followed him every day for months. That adds up. Okay? So Diddy didn't want to pay. So what ended up happening is because I'm the videographer, I own the footage. It might be your likeness, bitch, but I filmed it. Okay? So he decided to sell it to Netflix. Netflix bought it, but they wanted somebody attached to it that could really bring hype to this documentary. And that's where 50 Cent comes in as the executive producer or whatever on the documentary. So 50 Cent wasn't the one filming, he wasn't the editor, you know, he was the one to basically push the project and get a super good credit and get some good money off of it. And 50 Cent and Diddy have been, you know, beefing for years now. They've been into it. I will say this, I saw a lot of my deep dive in that documentary. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the first person who's ever made a, you know, documentary style about Diddy, but let's keep it real. I did a 4-part series. Every series that I did of Can't Stop, Won't Stop was at least 2 to 4 hours long. And I took you from the beginning. Like I said in my documentary, the way that Diddy first came into my ether was because of that stampede that happened at the college. I broke all that down in my documentary. I hadn't seen nobody cover that the way I did in my deep dive. Nobody even talks about that stampede that happened. So I was very shocked to see that in this Netflix documentary. I'm like, damn, this looks like a Lovelyti production. I don't ever see anybody taking it back that far. Interesting. Now, one of the things that I did learn, I didn't know about Misa and Eric Sermon dating. That was interesting, seeing Eric Sermon in the documentary, and you know, him saying his piece and stuff like that. I thought that was interesting. But what was so funny, when I was in Detroit, there was a young lady. She ended up being a tea sipper. She was my waitress. And she was so excited to meet me. We took a picture and everything. Well, my friends who live in Detroit, they ended up going back to the restaurant. So he texted me, was like, T, the waitress that was at the restaurant that you went to in Detroit, we ran into her again. And she told me to tell T that they literally took so much shit from her deep dive that it made no sense how much stuff they took off of her deep dive. And I'm like, I said, I'm glad that other people are clocking it. Because I've had a lot of people telling me that. Like, that was literally a condensed version of your deep dive. But I thought that it also showed what I had been saying about Diddy for years. And remember, when I would call Diddy out, I would get all types of death threats, people cussing me out. I'm trying to take down the black man. I was always trolled because I didn't like Diddy. Because I remember how he did so many people foul. And I'm glad that people got to see the real him when he said he went through Harlem shaking hands and kissing babies, right? And what'd he say? I got to get in here and get a shower, get all this dirtiness off of me. He saw himself as being above the average man and woman. Who says that? You mean these same so-called dirty people who got you to where you're at, who played your music, who listened to your songs, who bought your stupid ass Sean John gear? I remember being a kid, you couldn't tell. I mean, that's how much Sean John we used to buy, because you know this, when you're young, you support. I remember my oldest, because his name, he has Sean in his name. We used to tell him when he was a little kid that was his clothes, because it had Sean in there. We're like, only people named Sean can wear Sean John. That was the running joke in our household. So if my oldest, when he was like 3 and 4, if he saw you wearing Sean John and your name wasn't Sean, oh, he about to confront you. Hey, your name isn't Sean. That's only for people named Sean. So Sean will confront you, boy. If you had on some Sean John and your name is Tyreek, he wanted all the smoke, okay? So for him to be trying to act like people are beneath him and dirty, and it's like, the arrogance. But I've been saying this for years about Diddy. He don't care about the black community like that. He cares about what he can get from the community. Just like when he did all that preaching back in 2020 about how the Grammy board was so unfair and how, you know, his Love album wasn't nominated for anything. And then Mace came out and blasted him. And I said, how are you mad at the Grammys and saying that they're treating you racially unfair when you have by far disrespected, devalued, and taken from more black artists than the Grammys ever have? I don't think any black artist outside of possibly Loon has been unscathed by Diddy's bullshit. And remember my deep dive, I went through every bad boy artist. from Total, how he did them. And I've been around Kima. Well, Keisha. Keisha. The one that's Vita's sister from Murder Inc. I was around Vita and Keisha and Deb Antony a few years ago. And the stories they all told me. I didn't repeat them stories in a deep dive because when people tell me in private, that's just what they tell me. But to see these women where they're at now, the way they're struggling, like it almost made me like break down because I'm like, damn, y'all were the soundtrack to my childhood. I was a huge Total fan. And to see that they have nothing from that shit is insane to me. The fact that I'm eating better and living better than they are is insane to me. The fact that they have no generational wealth is insane. And it's not just Total. Craig Mack died broke. Black Rob. What's the little boy? Little Jerome. How he went crazy. Who knows what they did to him? Day 26. 112. A lot of people didn't know about the tea about 112. I talked about that in my deep dive. I didn't even realize 112 was as young as they were. I thought they were grown men. These boys was 15, 16, and 17. Locked in studios. Told if you're not singing, walk y'all's asses home in the middle of a snowstorm. Because they had school the next day. Donnie, the white boy from, he wasn't part of Day 26, but remember he had the solo career. Fucked him over. Danity Kane. The band. So I took y'all from back in the day to all the way to the Cassie situation. That's how deep my deep dive was. And I had a whole section on the beef between him and Tupac. And the way I did my deep dive was way deeper. Because people just think about the whole East Coast, West Coast. It was way deeper. I broke down how he was behind all that bullshit. And remember, I'm the one who broke down in the deep dive how he fought to get that Rolling Stone cover. And 2 weeks before Biggie died, he took Biggie to the graveyard. All that was a ritual. Remember the cover of Biggie's last album, that was taken in the graveyard. And Biggie had a broke leg or he was dealing with he wasn't feeling good at the time. Puff didn't care. So it was very interesting to watch a lot of that stuff. Somebody said sue 50. I'm not suing shit. It ain't that serious. Y'all be really talking like lawsuits are free. I'm not wasting my money suing on nothing. I mean, the thing is, we just know where a lot of this stuff came from. Even today, 50 Cent is out here talking about the Tupac, how Diddy dated Tupac's girl. I did a whole chapter in my deep dive on the whole Diddy Sarah Chapman situation. And even with Kim and Tupac. And how Diddy gets off on dating his rival's girlfriends. Again, low self-esteem. He wants what other people have. So I was very shocked when I found out that Eric Sermon and Misa dated. I said it makes sense. Same way he did Tupac. So this is the video now that's going viral about 50 Cent not putting this in the documentary. I said, well, that's interesting because I sure enough had it in my deep dive. Put a ticket if I remember me breaking this down in the deep dive. The whole Sarah Chapman situation with Tupac. So they're here, now he's talking about it on the Sherry Shepherd show.
Yeah, well, everything couldn't make it was 4 episodes.
Right.
So it was a lot. You had to pick and choose things. Like even in an area where he chooses to date people who he knows previously dated someone. He has a baby by a woman that was dating Tupac.
Wow.
To add to it, but we had to cut it down so we couldn't.
For time.
Yeah.
So are you coming out? I know next year is going to be a number 2, season 2.
I just put it on YouTube.
I just put it on YouTube. Well, we can subscribe and get it. I love it. And
Yeah. So, y'all are not wrong to clock a lot of the stuff that y'all were clocking. I feel like a lot of this stuff in my deep dive ended up on Netflix. I do. And I mean, that deep dive, that was like a 5-month process. Because just the first chapter took me like 3 weeks. Second chapter, third. Because I believe I had 4 chapters. if my mind doesn't escape me. I believe I have 4 chapters. Like I said, every chapter is between 2 to 4 hours long. Even the breakdown, I did the whole breakdown on all this shit that he stole from Biggie. All this stuff that Biggie stole from Tupac, like his whole style. So that, I'm saying, it was like so many things that were just popping up in that documentary that was like, y'all don't watch my shit. Because remember, I'd had a whole section where I had compared everything, and it was that gentleman in the deep dive that was talking in my deep dive from Baltimore. And there was that whole section of where you see Tupac around the pool, I get around. And then them around, when Biggie did the Juicy video. Took that straight from Pac. Tupac wearing Versace. Then Biggie did it. So it was even more stuff than that, but they copied a lot of Tupac's style. And then they brought it to the East Coast. But that wasn't really Biggie's doing. That was Diddy obsessing over Pac and Death Row and Suge Knight. Trying to take their swag and their energy and then recreate it with Biggie. So when he came up with Hit 'Em Up, he wasn't lying. When he said that, you try to copy my style, 5 shots couldn't drop me, I took it and smiled. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't lying when he said that. Now it's all about Versace. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was not lying when he said that. So I just find it very interesting, like just some of this stuff that's in there. Somebody said, first Lovely Joe, now Lovely 50. Y'all like too funny. Y'all said, we're going to start calling him Lovely 50 Cent. Lovely 50. So, again, I'm just a random small fry on YouTube. People take shit that I do and put together all the time and then regurgitate it on whatever platform, Breakfast Club and just whatever else. I guess I'm just used to it. I'm just glad that my audience gives me my props and y'all support me and y'all see what it is. But like I said, there was also some new stuff in there that I did learn. I'm not going to say that they, the whole thing was, based off of some of the stuff I put together. I like the fact that Babs, my girl Babs, was in there. Because I did a whole segment on making the band. So I'm glad that she got a chance to get up there and tell her story. I thought the Aubrey O'Day was going to be a bit deeper. I didn't really like her segment. I felt like she was doing a lot of holding back. She read the email that Diddy sent her trying to fuck. And then, 2 weeks later, she was fired from, the band. But I don't care. I feel like they had sex. I feel like they were messing around at one point. You know what I'm saying? And he couldn't control her. And that's what really bothered him. I felt like, I don't know, I just needed more. I needed more. I felt like she was holding back. It's like, girl, if you're not going to spill it, move around. If y'all not here to spill the tea, please don't waste my time. I'm here to get the tea. But what else? I'm trying to think back to other stuff in there. Kirk Burrows. Now, he was giving me angry lover vibes after a while. He said that Diddy sexually harassed him, but I don't know. I was getting ex-lover, ex-relationship, bitter breakup vibes. Sorry, am I being messy? I don't know. It was just, he was telling it all, but it was giving me he's very jaded. Diddy did him wrong, but I don't know. I was getting ex-lover vibes from him. Yeah. Okay, y'all were too? It was just very strange. Yes, Diddy's bisexual. Where you been at, Dragon? Yeah, he's he's just gay. Let's just call it what it is. Y'all love using this term bisexual. Diddy's a gay man who uses women as his beard. That's where Diddy feels the most comfortable, is with men. But because he's old school and he's hip hop, he's not, I believe him and Andre Harrell had a relationship. I talked about his relationship in my deep dive with Clive Davis. Diddy learned all of that behavior. That was learned behavior. What else was something else I wanted to hit on? Yeah, they didn't talk about the Misa Suge Knight thing. You know, Misa with Justin, and they didn't really hit on. They kind of hit on the Wolf. He was mad that he had to pay child support for Justin. I still don't think Justin is his son. Justin don't look nothing like him. Them twins are his twin. That the Tristan boy look just like him, Christian, whatever his name is, but Justin don't look nothing like him. I don't care what nobody says. That Justin, and people are like, well, Justin just looks like the mom. Nah, it's just a little bit deeper than just looking like the mama. Because even that half Asian baby, I don't know the Asian baby's name. Even the Asian baby looked like him. And her mama's Asian. So, I'm just saying. What else? What else was in the deep dive in their documentary? Okay, this is what else I wanted to say. What I did not like, because he got to talking about Cassie, right? But what I found very interesting is he didn't talk about his baby mama. Now clock that T. So you gonna do a whole 4-part series and not really mention your baby mama. Like, we knew she was Jane Doe, but you notice they didn't go deep into Jane Doe? And, you know, it's all this talk about Cassie, her being on some freaky horror stuff. But your baby mama was a jump off too. Like, let's keep it real. Daphne Joy is also a mistress, allegedly. She runs with this mistress, this 6-foot mistress. I forget her name. She's racially ambiguous as well. That's Daphne Joy's homegirl. And that tall homegirl, y'all can write her name. I forget her name. She's like 6 foot tall. She a model. She an industry bop. She was running with Cassie back in the day when Cassie was a teenager. So all these people are interlocked. I should do an updated Diddy deep dive, because there's even more stuff that I found out since digging. So Daphne Joy is a call girl. She says she's a model, but she sells ass. That's what she's known for. And that's what it was supposed to be with just her and 50. It's just supposed to be sexual, but he's a goofy and got her pregnant. So I find it very interesting that he made sure not to really go deep into that situation. So that is why I can kind of see where Marlon was coming from when he says, as the executive producer, you can kind of make the story how you want to make it. Because if somebody else who was involved in the making of that, right, and who had no ties to the situation, they wouldn't have had a problem clocking Daphne Joy's T in that documentary as well. Because Daphne put a lot of shit out there about Diddy and what he did to her. So, you know, you can't laugh too much about these women and Diddy and the things that he did when you got a baby by one of these tricks. It is what it is. So let's go here. Now him and Marlon Wayans are beefing. So we're going to watch this. Marlon Wayans was asked a question. And it said 50 Cent off. So let's start with this. He was asked a question on the radio about the documentary.
We ain't baby all close. Nah, you stupid. But yo, look, Puff is
Nah. You working with
I've known
Pac?
Puff for 30 years.
You saw Big before he passed?
Yeah.
Bro, so you're close. And Jack, what were you saying?
In the documentary, there was insinuations of, that Diddy possibly had something to do with both Tupac and Biggie. And,
Who's telling the story, right? You can skew
People very close to the situation.
But you can create any narrative as a producer and as a director and as a storyteller. I can create a narrative. I could be like, you know what?
You have?
I could create a narrative.
Well,
I could be
we
like,
see it all the time on reality shows.
Nah,
on
reality
that's
shows,
right.
that's how
you're
they're creating
you write
a
a narrative.
character.
It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's true. I can get interviews. I can do this. I can get footage. And I could make you think this about that person.
Nah, for sure, yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So for me, I think, look, 50 and Puff have a long-term beef. It's personal. It's
Well, people are saying 50's wrong for doing it, but 50's right for doing it. It's divided.
It's between him and Puff. And before it's between him and Puff, it's between both of them and God. Just the way Puff is down on his luck and 50's kicking a man when he's down.
God is going
If 50 ever luck turn up on 50, you know, that you got to be careful what you put out. There's a karma to every action that you do.
Okay. Objection. Okay. I'm going to need you to pick a different phrase. You're saying that 50 is kicking Puff when he's down. Meanwhile, Puff was kicking Cassie down the hallway like a football. Let's pick a different. Let's pick a different phrase, okay? I don't even think it's so much 50 Cent kicking Puff when he's down. I think it's 50 Cent definitely taking advantage of a situation, a money opportunity. He has no loyalty to anybody. He didn't give a fuck about his son, his biological son, or the first baby mama. So 50 has no loyalty to anybody. So to think that he would, you know, handle Puff with kitten gloves is insane. But again, I also feel like white folks been making documentaries about Tupac, Biggie, you know, Diddy for years. Do they also have to, you know, atone for their sins too? So that's the only thing I kind of disagree with. But now let's see what 50 Cent posted here. He's just been going in on Marlon ever since yesterday. So 50 Cent says, in 49 countries, I want the smoke, punk.
Never, those aren't the type of parties that I go to. I don't frequent those type of parties. And even if I go, like I said, been doing Diddy parties for 15 years, and I must say you never let me down, Puff. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Good times, people. I've never seen any of this. I'm like, when I hear about it, when did that happen?
Ain't shit for that video. So they've been going back and forth. Let me see here. Let me show y'all some more stuff. It's been insane on Instagram. So then Marlon, he said that Diddy is 12 years a slave. Let me see, what's another thing. People making memes. Then 50 posted this. He says, Diddy got this food trying to get at me, LOL. No AI. It's your vibe, boy. Keep my name out your mouth. And this was a weird, I don't know what fruity photo shoot Marlon did here, but somehow 50 Cent found this. I've never seen this before, so he posted it. Yeah, so it's just been them going back and forth. 50 Cent saying, keep my name out your mouth. Then Ja Rule came out, says, again, let's not be selective in our outrage for abusers, because 50 Cent had also beat up Daphne Joy. So Ja Rule was also posting this. He says, I think I'm going to start doing docs. There's a lot to unpack here, allegedly. Icon Nick Docs. Ooh, Ja Rule is messy. Then he says, not burn the house down with your son inside. Now, we talked about this before on my channel. 50 Cent's Long Island home burns down. And that's when Tamika, I think, was that her name? Tamika Tompkins or Shamika? I don't know, his first baby mama. And she was blasting him about that. Then Ja Rule says, please stop projecting your fears of another man onto me. I don't give a fuck about Herman. He's a goofy to me. So, yeah, it's been nuts on social media. Oh, yeah, he made this AI picture of 50 Cent and Diddy. And he says, and just for the record, bro, let's just correct the narratives, Curtis. Rub-a-dub-dub, stop. So he tried to hit him with the AI. It didn't land. We need real receipts, not AI. And then this went viral. With a TMZ watermark. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I said, not the TMZ watermark. Social media been doing too much. Here goes some other memes. And this is from the movie Don't Drink Your Juice in the Hood. Don't Be a Menace. Oh my goodness. They've been going in. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a 12 Years a Slave. Now let's think about 50. Let's see here. He says, I'm just enjoying my life. Cigars before the storm. For the record, I don't condone any abuse of women, period. Unlike some people who have a track record of domestic violence, I got 5 sisters and don't let anyone create narratives about Marlon Wayans. I'm an exceptional man. Good day, Curtis. So he was responding to 50 Cent. I think these are, yeah. I think this was about it. Uh-oh, don't tell me 50 Cent's son got something to say.
I just woke up. I had a long day on the gram yesterday.
Oh, this is from 2020. Okay, this is old. This is from 2020. We're not going to do that. What is this? Marlon Wayans, where you get that baby oil from, Curtis? Many men, many men. Rub oil upon me. Go smoke some. He's so stupid. Not using the Many Men song. Many men wish death upon me. Blood in my eyes, dog, and I can't see. Oh, Marlon is wrong for that shit. Okay, so then Marlon comes back and he addresses it. Let me try and find that real quick. That was funny. That was actually funny. We get that oil from many men. Many men. Oh my gosh. All the young kids in the chat like, what is many men? You had to be there, child. You had to be there. That damn album, that first album that 50 Cent had, that was a hit. That was one of my favorite albums. Okay, so this is Marlon. He's addressing the situation. I guess the memes started getting out of control, so now he wants to address this. We're going to watch this real quick.
All right, so I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I'm not here defending Diddy. I am here because I got dragged into this because somebody asked me a question and I had an opinion. Nobody's wrong for giving an opinion about any subject, period. I'm not here defending Diddy. Don't let the narrative fool you or get to you. Once again, somebody's creating narratives. This is my point. So please look at the whole clip that I did and then look what happens with the narrative. And that's what I'm telling you. Y'all people don't be sheep. Use your brain. Use your freedom of thought, your freedom of speech, and don't ever let nobody bully you. Never. Don't let nobody bully you. You got me? Love. Now back to trolling this troll.
All right, so that is what Marlon had to say. And I'm a fan of Marlon. I do. I like Marlon Wayans. I like his whole family. They've always kind of, I don't think they get enough props as they should in the industry. They've put in a lot of work. They've employed a lot of black people. They've put a lot of black people on in the industry and stuff like that. So I do like Marlon Wayans. He's cool. And I'm glad he's taking up for himself. I think he has every right to clap back on 50, just like 50, has a right to troll. Marlon is trolling him right back. So I'm here for their back and forth. But, I think that at the end of the day, Diddy just needs to do his time. I don't think that anybody needs to come out and really defend him. He put himself in a situation. They gave him his time. He's not going to be in there, he's lucky he got what he got. So he's not going to be in there super long. And when he gets out, then he can figure out his life then. But I just think at this point, Marlon had his opinion. That was his opinion. 50 Cent doesn't have to like it. But it was very interesting, though, to watch the whole back and forth. But I just think that the documentary, I think it's the #1 show right now on Netflix. A lot of people are watching it. Like I said, I did enjoy it. There was some things in there that I did learn that I didn't know that I found very interesting. But I'm also glad that it kind of showed a lot of people Diddy's very, very arrogant side. The way he just would talk down and go off, and he just knew he was going to get away. He didn't think that he was ever going to really be caught up. Roger Bonds was also on there, his former bodyguard. So I thought that was interesting as well, Little Rod. So if you haven't watched it, I mean, definitely, check it out. But if you want something that's very in-depth, definitely check out my deep dive on Diddy as well. So, like I said, it's long, but it's a good breakdown, very historically accurate.
You want the latest news in the streets? Join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.